Hello, A Day with Caleb. We are back, this time doing a Top Gun Maverick spoilers review. Now, if you have not seen Top Gun Maverick, the sequel to the 84, 85 Top Gun, then you might want to have this on your watch later playlist and come back after you've seen the film. Going forward, we will be discussing spoilers, stuff that happens in the film. So, your last warning, but we'll have pictures and movies as I go about talking about the film. We'll start with the original Top Gun, and being in the I believe mid to late 80s. I was in the late 80s when I was born, so I didn't experience this obviously in theaters. Not until later in life that I watched the film, but this is still a quotable film. You got the Need for Speed. There's many elements that people still use today, but I think we can all agree that the plane stuff was way ahead of its time, mind-blowing, especially for the 80s. But the film, I guess not a lot of people have it like as one of their favorites. It's a good film. It's a great film, a great story, but maybe not too many people go back. It doesn't have maybe rewatchability. And I wondered when they announced a sequel to Top Gun, how is that going to be in the current day? Howard Hawks kind of built a plane empire because he had all these great plane fights in the air, and you can kind of transition that into the 80s, 90s, maybe early 2000s, where we kind of dealt with the war aspect, the Army, Navy, and fighter planes, plane battles. Think of Red Tails, Pearl Harbor, early 2000s. But then it kind of fizzled out, so I was hesitant as to what this film could be. And then all the hype started and it passed $1 billion. I'm like, okay, I gotta go check this film out. I had no expectations going into it. It had been years since I'd seen the original. I knew Val Kilmer was in the original, Tom Cruise. There's elements I knew about the story, but and to have going into it, I had a very good appreciation for Tom Cruise as an actor, as a stunt performer, trying to do as much as he can, especially on the Mission Impossible films, practical, just going above and beyond, pushing his body to the limits, and that is no exception in the new Top Gun. They do all their own plane, like, stunts, aerial stunts, and the movie kind of picks up, not where the last one left off, because it's been 20 years or more since we left Maverick. And he's kind of still got that rebellious phase. They start out with him trying to achieve Mach 10 or 10 G-forces to kind of keep the aviation program alive and well. He pushes way past 10 Gs, and it kind of gets him in trouble like he's been doing, I guess, since the last Top Gun, and they touch on that. So he has to go back to Top Gun and be a teacher now instead of like flying these planes and testing his body. Now he's a teacher, and in the film, Iceman they talk about him bailing out Maverick each and every time, and he did it again this time to even bring him back to Top Gun. And Val Kilmer, when he came on screen, everybody lost it. Obviously, he dealt with throat cancer. He has to use a thing to speak. So just seeing him back in that role, Iceman, was incredible. So he's back. Then we have the new recruits, the best of the best. And there's a moment in the film where I believe it's Phoenix that says, we're the best of the best in our field. Who is going to teach the best of the best? And it's Maverick, which they find out later. They do open cut in the bar. And I think the love interest, Jennifer Connelly, I believe she was in the first one. It's been a while since I've seen that. Comment down below. I believe she is. And Meg Ryan, they had a flashback with Meg Ryan, who is Goose's wife, and they had a son who is in this new group, the best of the best, Rooster, who is played by Miles Teller. Whiplash, fantastic film, fantastic actor. He was not what lost the Fantastic Four film Joshua Trank was, but Miles Teller absolutely loved, especially in this film. He is like harboring bitterness and anger toward Maverick because since Goose died, he made a promise to Goose's wife, I guess Meg Ryan. I'll have to go back and watch that he would kind of try and discourage Rooster from pursuing his dad's job, and a dangerous job. All these missions are life or death. Then she passes away, so he pulls Rooster's paper, and it sets him back 4 years. So there's tension there, and the group can pick that up. And another great character, Hangman, who transitions. He starts out as obviously the typical bad guy, the cocky jock who is perfect and does it all, thinks he's the best, he's the team leader, he can go into any situation, and they call him Hangman because he leaves his wingman to dry. Like, anytime there's any kind of threat on his life, he bails. And they reverse that at the end with him coming back, and we'll get into that. But the cast, fantastic, and all the monikers, we have Maverick, Iceman, Goose, Rooster, Phoenix, Hangman, just all these great tags that their character, and they own it. Even though kind of the supplemental characters, they might have minimal roles, you want the whole team to be there just because there's chemistry and camaraderie. And let's go into the aerial stuff. It's mind-blowing that all this was, for the most part, practical. Obviously, with the bomb and everything, there are some CGI elements, but as far as flying the planes and doing all the aerial acrobats and dives and, the going straight up, all that was practical, and I commend the cast, and Tom Cruise pushes his body to the limit to bring us cinematic enjoyment and cinematic practicality. And with the CGI boom, it's it's harder and harder to get practical stuff. And you can see it pay off in this film, the practical. You still need CGI, yes, CGI will not go away, but I think a good mixture of both elements help to make. Obviously, there are some bad movies that are practical, and some bad movies that are CGI, some that are mixed that are bad. So it's not always about practical versus CGI, but he he has these training exercises that he does, which are fantastic. Then he has a moment where he brings the team together with beach football, which was a great scene. Oh, and let's talk about John Hamm as kind of the leader of this group. Obviously, we met John Hamm on the set of Keeping Up with the Joneses. Our granny was one of the featured neighbors. As the building is blowing up, you pan to her and her on-screen husband. They both played an elderly couple, but John Hamm, fantastic in this. He's pretty much fantastic in anything. I wish he would do more and more. Hollywood cast him in everything he can, because he is fantastic in this. All the returning cast are great. Just a great mix of new and old. I was worried that the new cast, sometimes when you bring a new cast to a franchise, it can go wrong. Expendables 3. But in this case, done very well. And basically the mission is they have to go to this base that is gearing up for nuclear war, nuclear plants, and kind of gearing up for that. So they have to go underneath the rock face, because there are these like rocket, like infrared laser guided missiles that attacks anything in the sky, like planes or anything that are coming toward the base to defend it, but they fly below the mountain range to kind of keep under the radar, and they have to do the mission in less than 2 minutes, which is mind-blowing to think about. And you see Miles Teller and Maverick kind of battling with that. The past. Is Rooster ready to contend, ready to lock in? He battles with playing it safe, because obviously his dad died in the first one, and you see his growth and Maverick's grapple and I guess battle with seeing his best friend Goose die, and then having to go on this mission with his son. He grapples with that idea, and that struggle is, you can see it on screen, but he ultimately trusts Rooster as his wingman, which is cool, because his dad was Maverick's wingman in the first one. And that ultimately is spurred on by Jennifer Connelly's character kind of encouraging him to trust Rooster. Then we get the great action flybys, like the suspense you can tell. They have less than 2 minutes. They have to lock on to this target that is like really small, knock out the infrastructure. Then the second bomb has to go off and blow up the place. Then they have to pull up on this mountain, 10 G's, and a lot happens. Then Maverick saves Rooster, because a bomb, the laser-guided missiles come at him, obviously, when they go above the mountain range after they destroyed the nuclear base. Maverick saves him in this cool shot, and I didn't touch on this, but during the training, they do some like fly-throughs, like if two planes are here and one flies straight through, which would be Maverick, they do some cool aerial stuff with that. My mind was blown away by how impressive those were. But he goes behind him, saves Rooster. The whole team goes back to the base. So we think, because there are two Generation 5 planes coming to attack and defend. So basically, Maverick sacrifices his plane, his life, to save Rooster because he didn't want that on his conscience, which was a great story arc. But then Rooster comes back and saves Maverick, and they have to go through this base with the enemy base and have to start up this old plane, and then they have to like play it cool because the two planes arrive, so they don't know if they're friendly, if they're with them because it's their plane. Then they ultimately end up in a dogfight, take one of the planes down right away. Then on this old plane, nothing works. They're trying to make it out alive in the dogfight. He has some like maneuverability and can evade their fire. So ultimately, they're going up to their death, they think, and they've made peace. Everything's right in the world. And then Hangman, who was waiting in the wings in reserve, and I knew that would happen because you cannot leave a great character like Hangman just on the bleachers in reserve. He has to be utilized in some way. He comes, takes out the plane, and that was set up beautifully because Phoenix kind of sets it up where he abandons everybody in trouble. He will not save you. Do not trust him. But ultimately, he comes and saves Maverick and Rooster, and they're ultimately able to have mutual respect. Even though he's still cocky, he knows it. He's the best of the best, but they have that mutual respect. Probably like you would correlate that with Magic and Bird. They kind of hate each other, but they have a mutual respect and a mutual admiration. Then we get back, we join up with all the team, celebrate. He goes back, and Rooster and him like do father-son like bonding, since Maverick is kind of his father figure, which was great. Jennifer Connelly comes back as the love interest at the end. Just a beautiful film. I know some people may not like war films or plane films, but this was a great one, and it helped the start of the film. Tom Cruise kind of does an intro and talks about the film, thanks everybody for coming. They need to do more of that because I feel like nowadays you just show up to the film and like see it. There's no like connection. So that was a great one, and I'm looking forward to the Mission Impossible films. But Top Gun Maverick, if we rated it 1 to 5, it would be a 4.5 for me. Just blew all my expectations away. Such a fantastic film. And it is up there as one of my favorite Tom Cruise movies. And that is a big hill to climb because he's done some fantastic films over the years. Collateral, the Mission Impossible films, on and on you could go with his filmography. But this ranks close to the top, if not the top. I probably would have a couple Mission Impossible movies first, but great, great story arcs with the characters, great character growth in most of the characters, and returning characters, obviously great. Good story, and because of the box office success, will they do a sequel? They've talked about it. You know, they've done almost the impossible with a movie 20 plus years ago, picking it up in current times, having a good story, having a perfect cast. There's nobody in this cast where you say, why are they there? Why is this character there? None of that. Beautiful story, beautiful message of hope and perseverance. And family ultimately is the story, not Fast and the Furious family. This is genuine, like, father son dynamics and all that. Beautiful film. Go check it out. Thanks for watching my spoiler review. I don't do many spoiler reviews unless it's kind of parceled with pickups, but I had such a visceral reaction to this film, such a great experience that I did want to talk about it. Comment down below your thoughts on the movie. Did you enjoy it? Did you like the cast? Did you like the story? Do you think there will be a Top Gun 3? Comment all that down below. Until next time, guys, keep going to see films in cinema and keep collecting.